it seems a little bit, it's just nonsense. God, I know you want me to do something, so, that's what you want me? Okay, let me try and I will just do it. I will take you out of the equation. So, do you as an entrepreneur think of your business, of your entrepreneurship as a random fact? Do you think this is just a game? Somehow just happens that you were passionate about something, you became good at something, now you have a service, you have a product, you want to change the world, you want to improve your life's quality, you want to change the quality of other people's lives. Do you think this is just a game? It just somehow happened? Well, I guarantee you one thing, that if your attitude towards your entrepreneurship is that this is just a random fact and you're just by yourself and your business, then probably you live every single day under the pressure, on the edge between life and death. And you really try to make it a win every single day. And the pressure, you heard pressure is good, makes you stronger, but you live under this intense pressure because probably, like me, at a certain point, you took God out of the equation. You thought that your business is just, your stuff is just earthly things, and there's the godly things. This is the reading, the Bible, the spiritual. Here is you try to become a better person, to please God, and here's your business. And you somehow took God out of the equation. That's what I did, and things got worse and worse. The business didn't get worse and worse, but the quality of how I was building my business, the experience through which I was going, was taking me farther and farther from God. And that's because the attitude I had within me, and I really want that by the end of this video, you won't see your business as a game, as just a random event. You'll sort of see it as a mission. That's the goal of this video, to sort of change the way you see your entrepreneurship. When I started to bring back God in the equation, or me going back to the most important things, the business, let's not talk about business because this is not a trade. I'll become better in God's eyes. I'm going to see God's face, and so that I can, let's not make this connection. What I'm talking about is, how do you see yourself in your business as a business owner? Do you see it just as a tool to accomplish something? Or do you see it as a tool to please God and serve people? I want you to see that the reason you are in business, why you chose this path of entrepreneurship, it was and it is in God's plan. And if you're passionate about it, you're good at something, you really want to serve as many people as possible, that's a godly desire. And that's great. But trying to accomplish God's desire, but only through your works, through your mindset and stuff, you probably already got a feeling it seems a little bit, it's just nonsense. God, I know you want me to do something, so, that's what you want me? Okay, let me try and I will just do it. I will take you out of the equation. So, I'm going to share with you 9 principles with you, which we will extract from the passage of Colossians chapter 2, verse 5. And we want to start to change our attitude towards your business and the attitude you have towards yourself. Rather than putting yourself the king of everything you do, let's build His kingdom. Thy will be done. And to start to have the attitude towards your business as a mission in God's hands. So in a very simplistic way put, let's bring back God into the equation. Or better, let's put it better, let's go back to the reason we started our businesses, the reason we decided to serve people. And let's start to please God through our service. So the passage I want to read together with you, and we're going to go through the etymology of 9 words from Greek, which are going to help us to understand in a deeper meaning what does that passage means, and how can you empower yourself as a tool in God's hands, seeing your business not just as a game, but as a mission. So then, rather than being on the edge of life and death every single day, stressed and worried and doubting yourself and every minute and every decision, to start to fulfill God's will and to relax while keep working hard. So the passage is Colossians chapter 2, verse 8, 9, and 10. Take your Bibles or open your device and let's read together. See to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception, according to the tradition of man, according to the elementary principles of the world, rather than according to Christ. For in him all the fullness of deity dwells in bodily form, and in him you have been made complete. And he is the head over all rule and authority. It's one of my preferred passages in Paul's letters. So let's begin. See to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception. The first word I want you to bring attention to. See to it. What does it mean? See to it. Oh, wait a second. So isn't God deciding what should happen? Of course, yes. So what can I do? Can I do something to change it? What can I do? See to it, says Paul in this verse. What should I see? And what does that mean? So the number one, it's right here. The number one, which is see to it. In Greek is used the word vlepete. Vlepete. I'm not going to write it exactly. Vlepete in Greek. I don't speak Greek, understand just a little bit of it. Vlepete. What does this word mean? Vlepete in Greek is the same word which is used in Mark 13:33, which says, take heed, keep on the alert. Take heed. That is vlepete also. So take heed or see to it in Greek, in the original language of the New Testament, is the same word. Vlepete means to notice carefully, to be ready to learn, to pay attention, to be prepared, to respond appropriately. So it's not the other word. There's another Greek word, which is agripnete. That means just to stay awake, just to observe. Vlepete, it's much more defensive. It's much more offensive. It's much more offensive, is being ready to take action, to respond appropriately. So is to take initiative, to understand what's happening, and to be ready to respond. Not just to be alert, but to take heed, to see to it. What does that mean? How many books you read in business, about business? How many podcasts have you watched about how to grow a business? How many entrepreneurs you've talked? If you start to understand one thing, that those people, which for example, I used to follow on Instagram or on YouTube as well, before I started to deepen my understanding in psychology. And I felt that something is off about them, but I couldn't figure it out. What was that? Now, when you start to realize what is narcissism, what is ego-driven, what is lovers of self, then you start to realize who is who, not just according to their success, but according to who they are. So when you start to see to it, what books do you read? Who do you listen? Who do you try to model? A very famous, successful coach in business, which I'm sure you know, I'm not going to name, said, if you want to become successful at something, find someone who is already successful at it and model their mindset, their skill set, and so on and so forth. Well, you only see at what they've become successful, but you don't know at what cost and what they had to sacrifice. And my question is, do you know what did they have to sacrifice? You don't, but you assume that your path is similar to their path. Well, that's how they think about business. It's just number and success. You as a Christian, or approaching or learning about the Bible, or probably you came to this channel to learn more about business, you will know that First comes seek thy kingdom, and everything else comes later. So the first shift is I want you to see to it. How do you can start to develop this power of discernment? This is the number one key. When you look up to someone, look at how do they live? Do they live? Who do you learn from? Trying to understand who they are. What do others say about them? What's their moral reputation? Doesn't mean that they must be Christians, otherwise you can't learn anything. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if their behavior is evil, and by evil I don't mean devil's work, I mean by its nature, not by its function. You can do good things and they can still be evil things. Doesn't mean that the devil made you to do that thing, but your flesh, your sinful flesh, pushed you, motivated you to do some things. But for the sake of your earning for yourself, for your own benefit. And it might look great from the outside, but deep in your heart, you know why you've done it. Maybe to appear good. I've done that constantly. And sometimes I catch myself doing that again. You want to impress someone a little bit? Doesn't come from the spirit. That comes from your flesh. And that's evil. Doesn't mean that you're possessed now. It's evil by its nature, not by its function. It might be a great thing. It's another conversation. It's a deeper one, and I don't want you to take it literally 100% like this. It depends on the context. What are their values? What are their motives of the people you want to learn from? See to it, because I know when you want to build and grow your business, you look around, you read books, but there are so many books which can lead you astray from God. So by pursuing success and taking out God of the equation, you might find yourself fighting the same fight those people who you try to model and to imitate. You'll find yourself conditioned, forced to pay the price which you are not willing to pay, which you were not willing to pay, but probably you'll start to be willing to. And then you get astray from God. And then you ask yourself, how is it possible? I just wanted to build my business, I just wanted to do great things. Well, you took God out of the equation. So, vlepete is the word used in the see to it. So I really want you to pay attention to that, to start to see behind the lines, behind the headlines, behind the titles, behind their success, behind their money and cars and so on stuff. Because you are different. You are God's worker, building thy kingdom, not accomplishing things for you, impressing others. I'm speaking from my experience, just to be clear. I'm not preaching. This is not a sermon. Even if it was, I'm not saved from all these tricks. But knowing them, understanding and seeking God's face first makes everything clearer and easier. Now, so pray about it. This is my suggestion for you. Pray about it. If you're confused about a book, because a book might be pushing you towards the wrong direction, pray about it. Ask for discernment. Ask for understanding. This second word, see to it that no one takes you captive. The captive word in Greek, it's not the word which stands for being held hostage or prisoner. The Greek word silagogeo stands for a combination. Yeah, here we go. To carry off as a prey or booty, to make victims of fraud, formed from the words sile, and gogeo, The sile meaning booty, spoil, and ago meaning to lead away, to carry off. So it's not, don't think about it as when you become obsessed with something, don't always put it as in Romans chapter 6 that, he doesn't put it this way, but don't interpret it this way. Oh, it is the sin doing this, it's not me. No, you led yourself into allowing yourself to be taken captive because something appeared very attractive. But because you haven't looked deeply through it, you haven't invited God into the equation when you were about to make that decision. Now you are not under God's guidance. Now you want to do it everything by yourself. And the captive comes in the game. It's not something just happens and I'm like, oh, now I'm obsessed. It's about something you observe, you like, and it seems that something, but because you didn't have the discernment, now you become obsessed by it. In 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 19 says, "For by what a man is overcome, by these he is enslaved." By what has power over you, by what you are obsessed, that is what you are serving. So if God's will is what you're obsessed with, God's heart, you're going to serve and please God. If you're obsessed with success, that's what you're God. What you're obsessed with, by what a man is overcome, by that he is enslaved. See to it that no one takes you captive. No one means make sure you learn to read people by looking at their fruits, their intentions, but that's not enough, their motives, and not only their numbers on Forbes. Number 3, the third word. Before we go to the number 3, for the silagogyeo, I have a question for you so that you can start to do something about it, see to it. So, what is the most attractive material success that compromises your faith? You want to record a video, but you have the Bible study. You have the heart's intention to go and serve someone, but you think more that, well, if I'm going to work half an hour more, I'm going to succeed. God wants compassion, not trying to buy his sympathy. See God's face first. Don't put God out of the equation. Otherwise, you find yourself without weapons, unequipped, fighting on the front line, the spiritual war, and you as an entrepreneur, you are on the front line of the spiritual war because you have to make hundreds of decisions every single day. And the consequences of your decisions are not going to be manifested in your life only, but also in the life of those who you lead in your team and your customers. You have a huge, great responsibility. Number 3, see to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception. Number 3, philosophy. How many of you are very in love with knowledge and understanding and books? I'm telling you that from in my past, I've been obsessed with philosophy, Immanuel Kant, Nietzsche, all the band. The books are staying there. Sometimes I look into it so that I know how to lead the conversations with those which are obsessed with it. And it's great. A little bit later in today's video, I'm going to mention you some tricks from great philosophers, Marcus Aurelius. Have you read Meditations or some other of his books? We'll get to it and you will see how that can lead you astray from God. I'm not exaggerating. Just to be clear, this is not I'm not trying now to preach to you that, look, forget about everything, because I didn't receive that mission to tell you, oh, do this, don't do that. No. It's not about that. It's about keep doing what you do. Change the way you look at it, the way you treat it. What's your attitude? What are your intentions? And is God in the equation? Where probably you've taken God out of the equation and you're fighting this fight by yourself and you're going to suffer losses. And the victories won't feel like victories. Philosophy. So the philosophia, is the connection between being loved with the wisdom. Now that might sound something great, doesn't it? The literal meaning of philosophia is the love of wisdom. This term was coined or popularized by figures such as Pythagoras, who saw the embodied ideal of pursuing knowledge rather than claiming to possess it already. But here's the thing, that the smarter you are, the more attractive is the wisdom. The more knowledge you want to gather, and that becomes your pleasure. So philosophia is putting something else above God again. And you think that the more you know, the wiser you become, that's what is going to reassure your success. While it is very true that we have to be wise, and I really believe pursuing wisdom is a great endeavor, falling in love with it and just loving it. You'll be quoting quotes of others, and you'll start to build these egos that you know so much, but you don't do it. So what my invitation for you is, fall in love with doing, applying what you've understood, serve people with what you've got now, and keep adding on top, keep improving, but keep serving people. So if somehow, perhaps you're in that phase in your business where you really understand that you don't know enough, you're not good enough, there is so much you have to learn, that's amazing. But don't make that your God. And don't fall in love with just seeking knowledge and more and more and more. Just start applying, start doing. Because philosophy, see to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception. If you are an entrepreneur, now if you are a writer, you are a philosopher, I don't know how does that go hand in hand with your Christian life. I don't know. That's a different conversation. But you as an entrepreneur, you gotta serve people because you want to serve people. You want God to bless you with more so that you can serve more people, but you don't serve people. You fall in love with the knowledge and now you're in love with philosophy. And rather than serving, now you are a philosopher. You're a philosophopreneur. You're not an entrepreneur. You're not enterprising and trying to invent, to be creative into different ways to serve people. You're in love with you, building your ego, trying to impress others that through you knowing even more than anybody else. Use that that's really the fact. Use that to serve others. And 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 19. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, not in words taught, now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, so that we may know the things freely given to us by God, which things we also speak. Not in words taught by human wisdom, but in those taught by the Spirit, combining spiritual thoughts with spiritual words. That's what you want to look for, and not mere philosophy. Number 4. How is it going? Do you feel more empowered? Do you start to make now differences and say like, I have to pay a little bit more attention to this, to that. What's holding you captive in one area or in another, and to start to empower your spirit by leading your human nature, your flesh. You start to direct it. You start to govern it, so that the Spirit of God can do the work through your gifts, through your business, so that you can serve people and please God, and not please you and serve you. Yeah. And again, I'm speaking from experience, and I'm telling these things to myself. I'm reminding them to myself. And I love this passage, and I want you to look and to see how much is there for you to start to become stronger spiritually. Come on, let's go. Number 4, deception. What is this empty deception? What does it mean? Apates is the Greek word used for this word, apates. Apate was the goddess of deceit who, along with Pandora, released evils upon the world. All right. The mineral apatite was named after Apate because its misleadingly beautiful appearance could trick people into thinking it was a more valuable gemstone. So deception is something which, if you're in love with philosophy, you're going to eat everything that is there in the market, the knowledge, information. There is so much information. Or you start to feel in love with philosophy. And let me bring you one example. Look, what do you think about this quote of Seneca? If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you are needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. Does it sound wise to you? No, it sounds wise to me. Don't wish the environment to be different. You change. You be different. But we have that in the Bible already. But if you're focused and you're in love with Seneca, Seneca also says, the belief in an afterlife is a distraction. Focus on living virtuously in the present moment. From the same book, Letters to Lucilius, letter 101 and 52. And if you fall in love with philosophy and with the philosopher, you start to consume everything they say. And then you wake up in a few days, and then you start to make dumb decisions. And then you're taking God out of the equation. And then you find yourself lost, doubting, under pressure, worrying, stressing, lose your appetite, losing your emotional management. You start to lose the control of your emotions, of your mind. And then you're desperate, and then you go back and let me read and let me pray, and you try to impress God a little bit because I'm trying. Are you trying to do what? To impress Him while you're praying, but then you want to impress people when you go back to work. So it's kind of, you think that this is God's world. Here I'm praying, I'm reading, but once that's closed, 30 minutes are done. Okay, good. Now I'm back to business. Oh, now I'm the boss. Now I'm the manager. Now I'm the God of my life. Now I'm the God of my destiny. So really separating these two. And then you're wondering why you're under pressure, why you're stressed, why nothing seems to work, and why you don't even know where to go. And every day you live between life and death. And you really hope that by the end of the day, you can consider it as a win. And then in the morning you start it again. Make your business your mission to please God and serve people, not your game of competitiveness, trying to impress others, you included. Speaking from my experience, again, I'm sharing these things with you, but I'm telling them to myself because I couldn't see them before. And everything I'm saying in this video is because I've failed miserably, constantly at all of these while knowing the word. While knowing in my mind, but I took God's wisdom and I put it in my knowledge chambers of my mind. So I borrowed it from God, but I started to consider it as the fruits of my thinking. So it should work because this is my knowledge. So just to be clear, I'm speaking from my failures. I'm not speaking to you from just trying to point to look something in your eyes because I have something bigger in my eye. All right. So that's the deception. Now ask yourself, what is the oldest belief you keep holding onto that you keep dragging with you in your Christian life? Because maybe some years ago, you started your business with one intention. Well, you can change. So if the God Spirit starts working within you and you start to see that things are off, don't hesitate. Be bold. Change them. Before my business started to work and function and to bear fruits, it was called Explore Self. Not Outgrow Thyself. Explore Self. I'm coming from the new age stuff and just being in love with the self, being a slave of the self. Yeah. When comes the moment that your spirit is stirring you and is disturbing your mind, it's because God wants to wake you and say, hey, whoa, where are you going? Not there, go there. Listen to it. Don't be too stubborn. Oh, don't be stubborn like me. Don't make that mistake. The number 5. Let's take this side here. Here, see it? All right, good. The number 5 out of 9. The number 5 is the word used for the tradition. In Greek is used the word paradosin. Paradosin. In original, paradosin is used the word paradosin. What does that mean in Greek? Paradosin means tradition or folklore. Delivery, handing over, transmission. What is transmitted in the way of teaching, precept, doctrine, traditionary law handed down from age to age. In the verse, in Matthew 15, verse 2, the verse which says, why do your disciples break the tradition? Paradosin. tradition of the elders, for they do not wash their hands when they eat bread. How many things you've been taught or you taught yourself from learning from those who don't know God? But hey, that's a tradition. Marketing is marketing. And I've been caught very often in this trick. Yeah, marketing is, you gotta promise and over-promise, but you have to over-deliver, and the market says that, but when it comes to doing, it doesn't really do, and you have to position you as an authority, and you have to position yourself like this. Positioning should not exist in your Christian marketing. What should exist in your Christian marketing is contextualization. Hey, that's where I am. This is where is my left. Here is what my right. That's the extreme. That's the extreme. That's where I work. Okay, people can get that. But when you start to position yourself, you want to trick their subconscious by putting symbols and things and colors and manipulating them into a feeling. I know that people buy when they feel like buying, but if I create through my emotions and I bombard you with my emotions, or I touch your emotions too much and I do it intentionally, I know what I'm doing. I'm manipulating you. Now, should I use emotions to connect with you? 100%. Now, if I use them to obtain a specific goal, that is pure manipulation. And there are many who will teach you with the Bible in their hands, will teach you business, and will tell you the sentence, people feel to buy when they feel like buying, so make them feel like they should be buying. And that's manipulation, my brother. Again, you're taking God out of the equation. Then you're wondering why you feel stressed, because you start to take responsibility for everything of your destiny in your hands. And of course, you're not meant to do that. You're meant to listen and to follow and to obey. Now, I know this word is strong, but hey, sooner or later you will come to it. And I wish you the sooner the better. Because you're still free. You can choose and test and do this and that. It doesn't mean you have to be blindly scared and say like, oh my God, what if I'm going to make a mistake? What if I'm going to make a mistake? That's not how it works. Now, if you want a little bit of help, a little bit of understanding of how can I mix these two, in the description below, you can access a free gift I have for you. It's a 5 days challenge. No pitch, no sales, nothing about it. It's just 5 days, me serving you. We can go through your business, through your mindset, to make sure that you start to set yourself on the mission. And the 5 days in that challenge are set on the acronym of the word mission, MISSION. All right. So if you want to learn about what every letter stands for and what you can do in each of these 5 days, click the link, see the page and learn about it, and feel free to access it. I'm here to serve you. All right. So enough about this. The tradition. What is traditional knowledge in business should not become your traditional spirit, godly word. That comes from God. The word inspired in the people who wrote the Bible. I don't think we should talk about that here in this video, but if you have a question, feel free to ask and we can do that. But the tradition which comes from man and man and man and man and man, for example, marketing is one of them. There is the right way to do marketing, and there's the worldly way of doing marketing. So I'm going to stop here. Number 6, the 6th word I want you to pay attention is to, when it says, see to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception, according to the tradition of man, according to the elementary principles of the world. So what are these elementary principles of the world? Let's look in the original word, or these elementary principles of the world. Elementary principles of the world, I'm not going to write all the words of the world, are nothing less and more than those 5 elements of the stoicheia. The Greek word used for these elementary principles of the world is stoicheia. And stoicheia stands for data, elements. And in Greek, these are The definition word stands for the 5 physical elements recognized in the science of the philosophy of ancient Greece: earth, air, water, ether, and fire. Stoicheia are those 5 elements, elementary principles of the world. My question for you is, what are you afraid the most to lose from your business success? What is something to your branding here in your business, which if you had to leave, to leave behind just in a split of a second, you would struggle to say, yeah, no problem. Okay, I can give away my car. Oh, yeah, no problem. You can shut down my landing page, my website, my leads. Yeah, no problem. If needs to be done, I can do it. No problem. God, if that you ask me, as Abraham when he always was ready to give up Isaac, would you be ready to sacrifice your lead list from your business if God asked you? If I'm not saying God this, I'm asking if God asked you to, would you be willing to let it go? Or you'd say like, nah, can we trade? Can we do a barter? Can I leave behind something else, but not my email list because I really need it? Think about everything you have in your business and ask yourself, if God asked me to give up that one thing, would I struggle to say yes? Or would I just say, yes, no problem, absolutely. Can I do more? If the answer is not yes, can I do more? You love that a little bit more than you should. Again, I'm speaking from my experience, speaking to myself. To be clear, I catch myself. Just to be clear, this is not pointing to you. Oh, I really wish you don't take it this way, because I'm telling these things to myself. I'm reminding them to myself, and I'm sharing them with you. Let's move forward. Number 7. The 7th thing I want you to pay attention to is the word. After the stoicheia, because for in him all the fullness of deity dwells in bodily form, and in him you have been made complete. Here we go. Number 7. You are complete. The word used for being made complete in Greek is used the word pepleromenoi, and pepleromenoi in Greek means paid, done. The word in Greek perfect passive participator of the verb plero, meaning to be filled, to be made complete, or to be fulfilled. So there is a necessity and it is covered, is complete, is paid, having been filled. In Romans 15, Verse 14, and concerning you, my brethren, I myself also am convinced that you yourselves are full of goodness, filled with all knowledge, and able also to admonish one another. Filled, complete, you are all right. Not all right as you just don't have to do anything, you don't have to repent, not in that meaning. In Him, you are complete. So if you as an entrepreneur, you think that something is wrong with you and you're really fighting it first, before you start to fight yourself and to be so sure that something is wrong with you, ask first God, pray about it and say, God, is there any reason I maybe don't know why you've put this trait within me, this desire, this passion, because I'm struggling to understand. And I see there's something useless. I see there's something which is really disturbing my peace, and I want to grow my business, but I have this passion for something else. Well, probably you should follow that. Probably you should not. I don't know. God knows. But if you never ask, you'll never know. Or maybe you'll know, but it's going to be a little bit too late. So when you think you're incomplete and that God is somewhere far away from, it's because, not because He's far away from, it's because you run away from Him. You put God out of the equation. And then you're wondering, why isn't God there around you to guide you and to show you where to go and what to do and what kind of decisions you should make? Well, you ran away from Him. He's not away from you. So when you think that you are incomplete, it's because you are. But in Him, you are complete. Pepleromenoi. Pepleromenoi. I'm writing in a very uncomfortable position, but it's all right. All right. So my question I want to leave you with is, what pushed you forward? A void that nothing can fulfill, or the abundance of God's grace and the sense of accomplishing the assignment God has for you? So again, my call for you is to stop seeing your business as a game and as just something you made up and you think that you are by yourself. Don't put God out of the equation. Don't run away from Him. Let God help you to guide you to please Him and serve people. So I really want you to remember about this, the most important, and in Him you have been made complete. The next one, and He is the head of all rule and authority. The word for rule is the word arches. Arches. Arches in Greek stands for beginning rule, not just something which is above and ruling and has power. That's the next one, is the exousias, which is the now later one. The rule is the beginning of the power. In the Greek word is the genitive singular feminine form of arche, meaning beginning, origin, first principle, ruler, or power. It signifies a temporal thought, a causal source, or a position or of authority, and can be translated as of the beginning, from the beginning, or of a ruler, depending on the context. He is the source. So ask yourself, do you see yourself the master of your destiny? Where do your powers come from? What is the source to whom you are connected? Who is in your mind the number one businessman or entrepreneur out there who you'd really like and love to be like him, or to have his business or her business? If you're really thinking that you could succeed only if you had his or her personality, his or her city or town, his or her family, or his or her talent, or his or her gifts, brother, you're mistaken. You're looking in the wrong part. Beside the fact that you lost yourself and lost, been there, again, speaking from the serious, and still struggling. How many times I can see someone which is like, wow, if I just could have that, woo, I would be succeeding. Oh, ouch, hey. Okay, go back, repent, boom, God, sorry. More careful, calm down. Prayer, recenter, connect to the source, open the Bible, read a few verses, pray, connect. You don't have to only to connect on once a day, once in 2 days or 3 days. You have to do that every day. If you have somebody in your life, here's the very interesting thing. When you really want to be connected to someone in your life, in the earthly life, you really want to stay in touch sometimes in the morning, afternoon. Hey, how are you? Maybe a message, maybe a call here and there, especially in the beginning phase of a romantic relationship. Why do you think with God is different? So you want to connect with Him only on Sundays? So if what happens during the week, you just ignore Him like, oh, I don't care. This is not a relationship, my brother. That's why I don't want that your entrepreneurship becomes a game and you just try to prove something to you or to others. You're on God's mission. Stay connected to God. Stay connected to the source. That's our arche, not something else. In Him we've been made complete, and He is the head of all rule and authority. So the question I want to leave you with is, do you see yourself the master of your destiny? Where do your powers come from? Do you seek your motivation from a song, only from the music? That's emotional stimulation. That's not motivation. If you only get excited to work when you motivate yourself and you take 5 coffees, again, that's me. That's not motivation. That's emotional stimulation. You and I disturb our psyche and we think we motivated ourselves. That's not being connected to the source of the power, which God is. Read the Word. One less coffee if you really think that coffee is what you need. Do not confuse motivation with emotional stimulation. I can tell you one thing, that I was so weak in managing my emotions. I was going to the gym 10, 12, 15 years ago, and I couldn't go to the gym because I read the message like, I didn't like the content. Like, well, what do you say? No. And now I'm so excited in a negative way. I couldn't train, I couldn't go to the gym, couldn't do anything, let alone reading the word. I think you've got a point. I should not add here anymore. And the number 9, he's the head of all rule and authority. The word used for the authority is right here, number 9. The word in Greek for a authority is the word exousias. 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 In Greek, if you know well Greek, don't get offended by my writing. And generally, please don't get offended by the writing because it's awful. But it's all right. Is also the same word used in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 21. Far above all rule and authority, power and dominion, in every name that is invoked, and not only in the present age, but also in the one to come. Ask yourself, or let's add a little bit more of the definition. Exousias is the genitive singular of accusative plural form Greek word exousia, which broadly translates to authority, power, right, or jurisdiction. While both words relate to power, arche, the previous one, and exousias, arches refers to the origin, beginning, or primal power, whereas exousias signifies the delegated or inherent right and capacity to act. What a perfect word for Jesus Christ. He is God and was delegated as part of God to be embodied in our physical world. But in him, the full deity dwells in bodily form. You as a Christian, it says in your name, Christian. And we took Christ out of the equation, out of the business, with my mind and my mindset. I'm going to read Your Personal MBA. By the way, that's a good book. Your Personal MBA, it's a good book. It's a worldly, secular book, but it's a good book. I mean, maybe I missed something. Might happen. But generally, as I remember, and I read it a few times, it's a good book. It's technical, it's clear, doesn't go over the line. There are other books, for example, Persuasion. That book doesn't go hand in hand with $66 at all. Or other books which I do have there still. What's that? The other one, the power, force versus power. Don't go into that. You'll start to make your consciousness your God. Jesus is God. In our world, he embodied our physicality like me and you. And he won the sin and won in the battle with the death. The death doesn't have any power over him. He overcome that. And you as a Christian, being in business, understand that whatever you do is your mission, is your day-to-day activities, tasks, is the quality of your decisions and your business. That should reflect your connection to the arche, the head of all rule and authority. Not only rule over every other powers and dominions here and principalities, but also he is God. He is the authority. He has the delegated power, being God. That's our Christ. The question I want to leave you with is, who are you serving? Who are you serving? Your ego? Your family member you are worshiping and you want to please that more than God? I don't know, I'm just saying. I struggle with sometimes impressing people that I don't even know. And I catch myself like, oh my God, all right. Roll back, roll back, roll back, roll back. Immediately, you catch yourself, roll back. Connect go rearrange, make sure. Because especially if you're an emotional person like me, and I know my emotions can take the best out of me, I gotta be very careful. I will always have to be careful because that's my thing. I didn't have the possibility to express my emotions in my childhood. That's why in my adulthood, that's why I always struggle with. And that's what I have to be careful with. I know that the first door to open where I can take God out of the equation and start to focus on myself are my emotions. That's for me personally. Maybe that's not your thing. I'm just saying that what happened in your life leaves a mark in your life, in your psyche. And you gotta be careful and to know what kind of decisions, the quality of your decisions you make. So, who are you serving? Who do you want to please? Who do you want to impress? And can you serve God and believe He's not in control at the same time? Can you serve God and believe He is not in control at the same time? If you truly believe that He's in control, you don't want to please somebody else. You take pleasure in pleasing God. Well, with that being said, see to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception, according to the tradition of men, according to the elementary principles of the world, rather than according to Christ. For in Him dwells the full of deity dwells in bodily form, and in Him you've been made complete, and He is the head of all rule and authority. My dear friend, keep building, keep growing, but don't forget that everything else is everything else and is secondary. The primary goal, value, is to use everything else to please God, your business included. Don't think that the spiritual realm is somewhere there, God is somewhere there, but here's my business. I will deal with that here, but then I'll go back to Him there. You decide for yourself what that is. I want you to encourage, I want you to see yourself as a tool in God's hands, pursuing the purpose God set for you, for each of us, working on your assignment, on your mission. See you in the next one. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.